So welcome back to the channel, y'all. This was a highly requested video. Actually, probably my second most requested video recently for me to test out. So today we are going to be taking the Solis SV24. This is an all-electric tractor that I'm demoing here on the property, giving feedback to you, the viewer, to the company, and I'm also demoing an American CLS 3-point hydraulic log splitter right here. And y'all have asked, can you run a 3-point hydraulic log splitter? By the way, you've seen that we just put the hydraulic PTO pump on here. That's what you need for high flow on a compact tractor. But y'all are like, hey, can it run on an electric tractor? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if we've got the PTO horsepower to run this, but we're gonna find out. And I understand y'all's curiosity with this, it's mine as well. While electric tractors aren't completely silent, you still hear the fluids in the motor running and all, they're much quieter than diesel. How is it gonna sound cracking wood? I think that'll sound awesome. And being able to listen to things you don't normally get to hear when running an electric tractor on a hydraulic log splitter. This should be interesting. So I want to remind everybody, we're running American CLS's lower end hydraulic pump as far as flow rate goes. It's only 11 gallons a minute. Eventually, as we move up in size tractors and demo here on the channel, we're going to go up to a 20 gallon a minute pump on this, which we should see a dramatic increase in cycle time. But we need to run these lower GPM pumps on these smaller tractors. We're just pairing things up properly. So we will be making some changes down the road. We've got a big mix of what I think is some ash here. We don't really have much down here in the south, and some oak right here. And some of the ash has some really nasty, gnarly knots in it. The stuff looks bad. So I'm curious to see if this setup can even split some of that. I'm probably asking a bit much, but let's find out, right? I'm also tracking battery percentage time. Y'all been curious about that with an electric tractor. So we started at 90% this morning, doing all the hooking up, lifting logs down here, moving stuff with the grapple. By the way, the loader on this is amazing for this size tractor. Pushing everything up in here. I've been running that for, I don't know, hour, 2 hours, doing all that hookup, running around and grapple work. We're now down, I forgot to look, 8 or 10%, so not bad at all. So we're gonna run this at a relatively high RPM to get our cycle time up on this, and we're gonna split 1/3 of a cord today and see how much battery we use to do that. And then we can multiply that times 3 to see how much, well, if this could actually split a cord of wood and do all this work before we need to get it back to the barn, throw it on the charger. This should be interesting. Let's go. All right, so let's turn this tractor on. It's so interesting compared to a diesel. Turn it forward, fire it up. You'll hear the motor start here in just a second. Now you hear the electric motor spooling up the hydraulic pump. And that little bit of noise you're hearing right there is fluids squeezing through all the valves and everything else. And now we can turn the PTO pump on. You can see everything's working, so let's go ahead and turn the RPMs up on the tractor. And let's pay attention to the battery percentage. So we're currently, you can't hardly see that, at 78%. All right, I'm not all the way up, but I'm very close, 2,500 RPMs. Now here's the thing. Yeah, I can definitely hear the tractor running, but this is way quieter than diesel. So since this is a large piece and I already see a knot on this side, let's start with the single way wedge. All right, moment of truth. Let's listen to the tractor. I didn't even hear the tone of the tractor change at all. It handled that no problem. And it was satisfying hearing that wood crunch too. All right. Oh, this wood is so stringy. All right, let's do this again. That is so cool. All you can really hear is the wood cracking. This hydraulic pump, I've also run it on my 24 horse diesel. It doesn't seem to really put much strain on a tractor at all. That is so cool hearing that. And we just push right through a knot on that last piece as well. There's that knot again. I can definitely say I'm hearing things I've never heard before. Normally I always wear hearing protection when running a log splitter because you've got a tractor revved up or a gas engine, things such as that. Let's throw the 4-way on and see if we can hear much of a change in the tractor. I didn't hear any tone change in the tractor at all. Interesting. This is working out so good. All right, let's give it a little bit bigger test here. Maybe a slight change in the tone of the tractor. Didn't even really notice that either. All right, out of curiosity, I got the tractor all the way down. You can see how slow the cycle time is. It's still pushing, busting wood, and I didn't hear the tone of the tractor change. All right, that didn't take long at all. Look at how much we got. All right, so if you take a look in there, got a decent amount of wood. By the way, all of this come out of one firewood round. Pretty cool. All right, out of curiosity, let's put this to the ultimate test. I'm gonna grab the nastiest looking piece of wood right here that has knots everywhere, and I'm talking huge knots. We're definitely gonna have to use a single way wedge on this. Let's see if we can split it. Hopefully y'all can see on the camera, look at that. Gigantic knot here, another knot there, another knot on the other side. Woo! It's gonna be interesting. Here we go. That went a whole lot easier than I was thinking. Man, I hate wrestling these big old pieces. Cut right through the knot. Look at that. All right, you can see we just cut right through another knot. Surprisingly, with little tone change, the splitter didn't slow down at all either. Now we're going through another knot. Now through another knot. All right, I just turned it down a few hundred RPMs. Cycle time still looks decent. It's definitely slower. It's a lot quieter. I'd assume the battery's gonna last a lot longer too. Golly, this stuff is nasty. Look out, look out. All right, I'm gonna go grab some lunch, throw this thing in fast forward, And we're gonna knock out a third of a cord, see how much battery we use, and see is there enough battery to come down here and do all this work, hooking up, driving, grapple work, cutting, and can you potentially split a cord of wood all on a single battery charge? Let's find out. All right, we have us a third of a cord split, and let me say, I couldn't have picked any worse wood to split. Now, some of my oak was straight grain, but that ash, or what I'm calling ash, had knot after knot after knot. Now, I'm unbelievably impressed with this low of a GPM and low of a tonnage splitter. It busted through everything I asked it to, and I guess that's also a testament to the PTO, the hydraulics, and everything else. No issues busting through stuff, it just takes a while. So, this ran longer, but that's just the way it goes. So I just checked, we've burnt through 28% of the battery, splitting a third of a cord. So realistically, well, you typically don't want to run your batteries below 20%. That's where you go into limp mode. It gives you plenty of time to get back to a safe space, to charging, all that good stuff. So it's looking like if I were to do the typical work that I did today, by the way, I've been running for quite a while, a few hours, grapple work, hooking up, driving around, splitting, high RPMs, PTO work, well, I could probably get 2/3 of a cord done along with the additional grapple work. If I were to come right out here and everything was cut, it's looking like, especially if I didn't have as much knotty pieces, yes, I could get a full cord split on 80% of the battery and then get this back to the charging station. So there's just some figures. A lot of y'all been asking for those. At the end of the day, I still like a gas engine on my splitter. I still prefer a diesel tractor just for the longevity and because we have such a large property and we do so much lengthy work. But for some of you, 3-point splitters make the most sense to use on a tractor. An electric tractor may make sense to you. That's why we love showing all this stuff off right here. Everybody has different wants and different needs. Well, I've made a mess and we have a pile of rain on the way. It's supposed to rain the next 2 to 3 days. I better blow all this down, get some tops on some stuff. I've got some logs still out there I don't want to get wet. I got a lot of tidying up to do before this rain hits us. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this. You asked for this. This was very interesting, being able to hear the wood pop, and it was just such a unique and different experience, and I was absolutely blown away that this package worked as well as it did, especially on this nasty wood that we split today. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any other questions or things that you want to see, by all means drop a comment. I'll read every single one of them, and if I see it enough, we'll do it for you. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to bring up before we wrap this up, a bunch of y'all brought up, why don't I have a log deck, or why don't I pick logs up with a grapple and do some cutting? I demonstrated some of that today. I do not prefer using a grapple for cutting because on these shorter length logs, you can typically only cut 2 pieces before, well, you have to drop it and then cut on the ground anyways. A grapple has too much metal too close together to conveniently cut while in the air. I would need a mini excavator with a bucket holding in the middle, and you cut all around it. That would be the best way to do that. The next best thing is to build some sort of log deck. I am not going to pursue that right now because this area is supposed to be for a future sawmill. I'm not about to build a permanent mount deck right here and then change things up down the road, but it is something I will consider down the road.